You are not failing. You are overflowing. That single sentence might resonate with you, Mom, more than any glossy magazine cover or perfectly curated social media feed ever could. Because beneath the surface of every picture-perfect image lies a truth rarely spoken aloud. Motherhood, in all its messy, glorious, and utterly exhausting reality, can push us to the very brink. We're told we should be fulfilled, that every moment should be cherished, and that our love should be an endless spring. But what happens when that spring runs dry? What happens when the endless to-do lists, the sleepless nights, the constant demands, and the sheer weight of responsibility leave you feeling depleted, overwhelmed, and like you're simply not enough? This isn't a pep talk filled with empty platitudes or unrealistic expectations. This is a conversation, a lifeline thrown to you in the midst of the storm. It's an acknowledgement that the exhaustion you feel is real, valid, and shared by countless other mothers who are silently struggling to keep their heads above water. We've all been there, haven't we? Staring blankly at a pile of laundry that seems to multiply exponentially, feeling the familiar sting of guilt because we snapped at our children after a particularly trying day, or collapsing into bed at night, too tired to even scroll through our phones, let alone connect with our partners or ourselves. The truth is, modern motherhood is often a recipe for burnout. We're expected to be everything to everyone: nurturing caregiver, patient teacher, skilled chef, tireless housekeeper, successful professional, and so much more. We're bombarded with conflicting advice and unrealistic portrayals of what it means to be a good mom, leaving us feeling inadequate and constantly chasing an unattainable ideal. And in the midst of all this, we often forget the most crucial element: ourselves. We neglect our own needs, push our own boundaries, and silence our own voices until we're running on fumes, wondering where our joy went and how we can possibly keep going. But here's the thing: you don't have to keep going like this. You deserve to feel joy, energy, and a sense of purpose beyond just keeping tiny humans alive. You deserve to prioritize your own well-being without feeling guilty or selfish. You deserve to find moments of peace and connection amidst the chaos. This isn't about becoming a perfect mom, because that doesn't exist. It's about becoming a more resilient, balanced, and authentic version of yourself, a version that can thrive even in the face of the inevitable challenges of motherhood. We're going to explore the roots of this exhaustion, the subtle ways it creeps into our lives, and the surprisingly simple yet powerful tools we can use to reclaim our energy, our joy, and our sense of self. We'll delve into practical strategies for managing stress, setting boundaries, and prioritizing self-care, but more importantly, we'll challenge the societal narratives that tell us we have to sacrifice ourselves on the altar of motherhood. This is about rediscovering your inner strength, reconnecting with your passions, and remembering that you are so much more than just a mom. You are a woman, a person, a unique individual with dreams, desires, and needs that deserve to be honored. And you are absolutely worthy of feeling good, of feeling vibrant, and of feeling like you're living a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. So, take a deep breath, Mom. You've got this. And we've got you. Understanding the wellsprings of maternal depletion involves delving into the societal and psychological forces that often conspire against a mother's well-being. One crucial aspect is the supermom myth, a pervasive cultural narrative that suggests women can seamlessly juggle career, family, and personal pursuits without sacrificing excellence in any domain. This unrealistic expectation fosters a sense of inadequacy and pressure, leading many mothers to internalize a belief that they must constantly strive for perfection, an inherently unsustainable endeavor. In addition to the external pressures, internal dynamics also play a significant role. Many women carry deeply ingrained beliefs about self-sacrifice and the inherent virtue of prioritizing others' needs above their own. This can stem from childhood experiences, cultural norms, or even internalized messages from previous generations. Consider, for instance, the subtle yet powerful ways in which gender roles are often reinforced within families and communities. From a young age, girls may be socialized to be caregivers, nurturers, and peacemakers, while boys are often encouraged to be independent, assertive, and ambitious. These early experiences can shape a woman's identity and sense of self-worth, leading her to believe that her primary value lies in her ability to care for others. Furthermore, the transition to motherhood can trigger a profound identity shift, particularly for women who have previously defined themselves primarily through their careers or other pursuits. Suddenly, their roles and responsibilities are dramatically altered, and they may struggle to reconcile their pre-motherhood identity with their new reality. Another crucial layer is the isolation that many mothers experience, particularly those who are stay-at-home parents or who lack a strong support network. While social media can provide a virtual connection, it often presents a curated and idealized version of motherhood that can exacerbate feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. The lack of genuine face-to-face interaction with other adults can lead to feelings of detachment, frustration, and even depression. To illustrate, think about the new mother who spends her days caring for a newborn, feeling isolated and overwhelmed by the constant demands of feeding, changing diapers, and soothing a fussy baby. She may long for adult conversation, intellectual stimulation, or simply a break from the relentless routine. Moreover, the physiological changes associated with pregnancy and childbirth can significantly impact a woman's mental and emotional well-being. Hormonal fluctuations, sleep deprivation, and the physical demands of caring for a newborn can all contribute to feelings of exhaustion, anxiety, and depression. It's important to recognize that these are not simply signs of weakness or inadequacy, but rather natural responses to the immense physical and emotional stress that mothers endure. Consequently, failing to acknowledge and address these underlying factors can perpetuate a cycle of burnout and resentment, ultimately undermining a mother's ability to thrive and flourish. Reflecting on this journey so far, it's evident that reclaiming vitality amidst the demands of motherhood isn't about adhering to prescribed formulas, but about excavating a deeper understanding of one's own internal landscape. It's akin to tending a garden, pulling weeds not just on the surface, but tracing their roots to the hidden depths where they draw sustenance. The essence lies not in merely managing symptoms of exhaustion, but in addressing the underlying conditions that allow it to flourish. Consider the image of a mosaic. Each demand, each expectation, each moment of self-neglect is a tiny tile. Alone, they seem insignificant, but over time, they coalesce into a heavy, overwhelming picture. To dismantle this picture, one must not simply remove a tile or two, but reimagine the entire composition. This requires a shift in perspective, a willingness to question the narratives that have shaped our understanding of motherhood and self-worth. It necessitates a conscious effort to rearrange the tiles, creating a new mosaic that reflects our authentic selves, our individual needs, and our unique aspirations. The convergence of these ideas reveals a pathway that transcends simple self-care checklists. It speaks to a more profound realignment of priorities, a deliberate act of self-preservation that empowers mothers to navigate the complexities of their roles with greater resilience and joy. It suggests that true fulfillment isn't found in striving for an unattainable ideal, but in embracing imperfection, in honoring limitations, and in cultivating a deep sense of self-compassion. As we pivot towards the final reflection, let's consider the analogy of a vessel. A mother's energy and well-being are like water in a vessel. If the vessel is constantly being drained without being replenished, it will eventually run dry. The key is to find sustainable ways to refill the vessel, to create internal reservoirs of strength and resilience that can withstand the inevitable storms of life. This involves identifying the activities, relationships, and practices that nourish the soul, and consciously incorporating them into daily routines. It also requires setting boundaries, saying no to demands that deplete energy, and prioritizing self-care without guilt or apology. Drawing these strands together, we see that the journey towards renewed vitality is not a linear path, but a cyclical process of self-discovery, adaptation, and growth. It's a continuous dance between giving and receiving, between nurturing others and nurturing oneself. It requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to ask for help, and to embrace the messy, imperfect reality of motherhood. And most importantly, it requires an unwavering belief in one's own worthiness, a deep conviction that every mother deserves to feel joy, energy, and a sense of purpose beyond the confines of her role. The path we've walked together isn't about finding a magic formula or a one-size-fits-all solution. It's about recognizing that motherhood, in its most authentic form, is a deeply personal and evolving journey. It's about understanding that the exhaustion you feel isn't a sign of failure, but a signal, a prompting from within to reevaluate, to recalibrate, and to realign with your truest self. It's an invitation to rewrite the narrative, to cast off the expectations that weigh you down, and to embrace the freedom of defining motherhood on your own terms. Think of it as tending a garden, not one filled with perfectly manicured roses, but a wild, untamed space teeming with life. It requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to let things grow at their own pace. There will be weeds, of course, moments of frustration and overwhelm, but there will also be unexpected blooms, moments of pure joy and connection that make it all worthwhile. The key is to nurture the soil, to nourish your own roots so that you can withstand the inevitable storms and continue to blossom, even in the face of adversity. This isn't about achieving a mythical state of perfect balance, because such a thing simply doesn't exist. Life, like a river, is constantly flowing, shifting, and changing. There will be times when the demands of motherhood take center stage, and times when your own needs require more attention. The art lies in learning to navigate these currents, to find moments of stillness amidst the chaos, and to trust in your own innate ability to adapt and thrive. It's about recognizing that self-care isn't a luxury, but a necessity, a vital component of sustainable motherhood. And so, as we reach the end of this shared space, let us remember that the true practice begins now. It begins with a gentle breath, a moment of quiet reflection, a conscious decision to prioritize your own well-being, not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of profound self-respect. It begins with letting go of the guilt, the shoulds, and the expectations, and embracing the messy, imperfect reality of being a human being, a woman, and a mother. It begins with recognizing that you are enough, that you are worthy, and that you deserve to feel joy, energy, and a deep sense of fulfillment in your life. Carry this with you, not as a set of rules to follow, but as a guiding light, a reminder that you are not alone, that you are capable, and that you have the power to create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. The world needs your unique gifts, your strength, and your love. So, take care of yourself, Mom, because you are the heart of your family, and when you thrive, everyone around you flourishes. Let your light shine, not just for your children, but for yourself, and for all the mothers who are walking this path alongside you.